I'm very glad to be here in Tallinn, and I want to thank the organizer for inviting me to this meeting. From Baltic Sea to Adriatic Sea. Let me start talking about my region, Friuli. And Friulian, Friul. We have long vowel too, Friul. Friuli is a region of northeastern Italy with its own particular cultural, historical and linguistic identity. It borders Austria to north and Slovenia to the east. To the south, it faces the Adriatic Sea, and to the west, its internal border is with the Veneto region. Friuli is a part of autonomous region Friuli-Venezia Giulia. The historical capital and most important city is Udine. It was also the capital in the Middle Ages of the Patriarchate of Aquileia, the so-called Picciole Patriae, little homeland. In Middle Age, Friuli was ruled by an archbishop called Patriarch. So the Picciole Patriae is the territory of this patriarch. Friul. While Standard Italian is the primary official language of the region, several other regional languages and dialects are spoken in Friuli. Friulian, Slovene, German, and Venetian or Veneto varieties of dialect. Friulian is spoken most of the region, the yellow area, and it's more predominant in the countryside, while in the larger towns, Standard Italian and a sort of Venetian are more common. The map shows the area of the spread of Friulian language. The green areas represent where German dialects are spoken. The blue areas along the border, the eastern border, where Slavonic or Slovene dialects are spoken. The orange ones where different Venetian variants, dialects are spoken. There are also areas where multiple languages are spoken in addition to Italian. Thanks to Vittorio dell'Aquila, who elaborated this map. Well, Friulian language is a Romance language, in Friulian called Furlan, or Marilenge. Marilenge means mother tongue. This Romance language belonging to the Rheto-Romance family, with more than 600,000 speakers, approximately 50–55% of the population, the vast majority of whom also speak Italian. In addition, Friulian is spoken even outside Friuli. Friul was, until the 60s, an area of poverty, causing a large number of Friulian speakers to immigrate. This immigration began in the final decades of the 19th century and ended in the 70s. It is estimated that more than 1 million Friulian people left the country over a period of approximately 100 years. According to the most recent census, Friulian immigrants living abroad are about 135,000. Among these, 56% are live in Europe, France, Germany. 24% in South America, 10.3% in North America, mostly in Canada, and 4.7% in Oceania. This data only reflects those Friulians and their descendants who have Italian citizenship. The majority of descendants of Friulian is excluded from the census because they aren't Italian citizens. Friulians in the world have created and supported cultural associations called Focolars Furlans, the Friulian firesides, the home fireside. Amongst them, 46 are in Italy and 156 in the rest of the world. Unfortunately, we don't know how many of these immigrants or descendants still speak Friulian. There are no data about this. But there are some towns in Argentina and Brazil where the inhabitants still preserve the Marilengue Friulians. For example, Colonia Carolla, Reconquista, Avellaneda, Resistencia, in other towns, mostly in Argentina. In the last 60 years, the number of Friulian speakers has dropped in Friuli, especially in the younger generations. The language attitudes reveal a loss of prestige and efficiency of the Marilengue, normally associated to the old, poor, rural world, considering it inadequate for a more sophisticated communication. On the other hand, Friulian is threatened by the Veneto or Venetian dialect in its traditional domains, mainly in the western part of the region. La Buine Blave, this is the corn meal brand that means the good corn. To give a complete picture of Friulian, it has to be noticed that this code gained the status of language in the community's representation. While in the 70s the population claimed to speak Friulian dialect, in the 90s most Friulians claimed to speak Friulian language. This change of orientation towards the local language reflects the profound changes occurring in that period in the socio-cultural identity of Friuli. In the late 20th century, especially after the crushing earthquake in 1976, the picture refers to that period, there was a revival of interest in the Friulian language, culture and identity, which has continued down to nowadays. Fuarce Furlans, Comment Friulans, Chinap Friulans. That picture refers to a manifestation to get a Friulian Missal, the book to celebrate the Mass in Friulian. Moving on, let's talk about laws and regulation. Unlike other minorities in Italy, also protected by international treaties, for instance, Germans, French, Slovenes, Croatians, Greeks, Friulians haven't behind any foreign countries in which the Friulian is the national language. The historical territory of Friulians settlement, the so-called Piccole Patrie, is all included within the Italian Republic. So, up to 1996, the only references to the Friulian language that could be found in legislative texts were only incidental or relegated of the defense of this language to a project of general cultural promotion. The official recognition of the Friulian linguistic minority is very recent and is established basically by 3 laws. 2 regional laws, the number 15 of the 1996 and the number 29 of the 2007, promulgated by the autonomous region Friuli Venezia Giulia. The most important national law, the number 482 of 1999 of the Italian Republic. Among other, these laws establish promotion measures of the Marilingue, respectively in schools and the radio and television sector. Therefore, teaching in Friulian has been introduced in many primary and some secondary schools. There are courses also at the university in Udine, Universitat dal Friuli. About the uses of the Friulian nowadays, some newspapers and magazines are available, totally or partially written in Friulian. In Friuli, only one radio station broadcasts most of its programs in Friulian, Radio Onde Furlane, Friulian Wave Radio. This started to broadcast in 1980, and it currently transmits its programs every day of the week, news, cultural and musical programs. Another radio station broadcasting some of its programs in Friulian, about 30% of the total, is Radio Spazio 103, a commercial radio established in 1993. As far as television is concerned, very little has been broadcast in Friulian. The news in Friulian, Lis Novis, the news, twice a day on Telefriuli. A few other programs in Friulian, including news, are broadcast by other private TV stations, while waiting for the state television right to start regular programming in Friulian. This is a gubanier who makes gubanes. Gubane is a typical cake in the eastern valleys Friuli. About the music, there are also several music groups which use Friulian for their songs, as well as some theatrical companies. Recently, 2 movies have been shot in Friulian, with positive reviews in Italian newspaper. Tierce Lion, The Third Lion, L'Idris Quadrade di Tre, Square 3, an horror movie. There is also an official translation of the whole Bible, In addition, some local brands use Friulian for one of its commercial adverts. Never idle hands, Friulians have always something in their hands. This is a beer brand. As regards toponymy, in many Friuli municipalities, road signs are in both Friulian and Italian, but only the Italian toponym is official and used in the administration, although it is widely expected that the Friulian ones will receive full acknowledgement in the near future. This is the Priest Street, Via dal Plevan, Priest. Friulian variants. There are almost 4 dialect groups of Friulian, all mutually intelligible. They are usually distinguished by the stressed or last vowel of many parts of speech, including nouns, adjectives, adverbs. A challenge that Friulian shares with other minorities is to create a standard language and a unique writing system. The regional law number 15 that I had mentioned before approved a standard orthography which represents the basis of a common variant and should be used in toponyms, official acts, written documents, and other. This standard is based on Central Friulian, which was the language traditionally used in the literature already in the 16th century and even later, but with some changes. However, there have been several critics about the standardization of Friulian, mainly from speakers of local variants, which can differ from it a lot. They also claim that this standard could eventually kill local dialects. This had caused some negative reaction. This picture is some example, and it could impede the implementation of protection policies. This example are referring to refuse standardized place names. For instance, Versa standardized Vierse, but the local place name is Viarsa with A. Well, moving on to conclusion. If compared with the language planning that has been carried out in other European countries, for instance, Catalonia in Spain, Wales in United Kingdom, Belgium, Friesland in Netherlands, what has been implemented in Friuli has not been remarkable. So we hope that the situation will start improving when the measure and the resource provided by the law are fully available, and some major delays on behalf of the institution are completely overcome. However, the national law the national and regional laws can only help to slow down the language decrease, but is not sufficient to guarantee the maintenance of Friulian. To sum up, it is necessary to reinforce the economical and socio-cultural conditions that allows Friulian not only to survive, but to flourish. All right. Well, that is all. Thank you for your time. I'm sorry for my English, but I'm glad to be